To Steve Day. So today I want to talk about one of the things that gives our clients that sort of aha moment, like right at the beginning of their journey that working with us. And it's totally free to do. And basically it's going to give you more control over your staff and what they do, and more visibility, I should say. It increases efficiency, increases the ability for you to balance the workload of your team, just to organize yourself as well, and to get more control over what you do each day, and to actually put a plan into place for creating all of your systems in your business. And it's incredibly easy to do this. I'm going to walk you through it now. It's going to change the way you think about task delegation and management. And I'm also going to include the 5 top pro tips that we advise all our clients to do. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about task boards. Now, this is something I have discussed in previous episodes, but I wanted to dive back into this to explain a slightly different perspective on it. And it's something that we recently made an update to our coaching programs about. And it's about emphasizing that when we're creating task boards for our teams and our business, we should also be thinking about ourselves. And in fact, if you're a solopreneur, or you currently aren't actually organizing yourself particularly efficiently, maybe you're using, I don't know, some Google task list, or you just write it down in a notepad or a diary, or you have, even if you are using a task management app, you're basically just listing out, everything you've got to do in a big long list, and there's no real organization to. Well, what I'm going to talk through today is a very simple way to structure everything you're doing in your business on a day-to-day basis, on a recurring basis, and using that for some really effective means for better collaboration and communication, efficiency, productivity, and organization of both yourself, and also your team. And if you get this right, then you're going to have so much more control over what's being done. You're going to be confident that the work you're delegating out is being done at the right time and is actually getting done on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You're going to be able to get this an instant overview of everything that happens in your business, and so you can just be confident that the stuff that you need to get done is getting done. It's not getting forgotten. And I used to have, before I did any of this, I used to have a bit of background in student rental accommodations, and so every year I would have like the same recurring tasks happening over the summer when my ex-tenants moved out and my new tenants moved in. And I'd forever be forgetting what I was meant to be doing and reinventing the wheel. And so this really got me into the whole world of systemization and documentation. But I never actually did this, what I'm going to describe now, back then. And I wish I had, because it would have actually made things a hell of a lot easier. And this also, as I mentioned before, it gives you a place, a real structure to how you're going to, or what work you should be delegating off your own back. So again, if you're a solopreneur, this is absolutely essential. But if you already have a team and you still feel you are doing too much stuff, then this is essential. If you have a team and actually maybe they've worked for you for a while and they're pretty high value members of staff, but actually they're spending a lot of their time doing low value work, which you could easily delegate to an entry level person, this is also one of those things that's going to help give you that plan to be able to know what it is they should be offloading in a really structured way. And in doing, if you do this the way I'm going to describe, you can track how long stuff's taking in a really simple and easy way that doesn't interfere with people's days, and keeping people accountable for what they're doing every day. And really importantly, it gives you a specific designated place to have conversations about the work that's going on in your business, whether that's recurring or ad hoc tasks, and doing that and removing all the chit chat from WhatsApp or Slack or email, even worse, email, allows you to really stay focused. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know these are recurring themes in some of the things that I've talked about over the months and years I've been doing this. But what I'm trying to do here is to bring it all together in a very simple way for you to actually start either from scratch using task boards and task managers, or just give you a more structured way of approaching this for both you and your team. So first off, we're going to kick off with just explaining sort of how to do this on a simple level. So how you actually just set these things up. And so what we're talking about here is to use a task management app. And the one we recommend is Asana, but you could be using ClickUp, you could be using Monday, you could be using Trello, for example. And there's pros and cons of most of these, but I've done a huge amount of research on this, and for all intents and purposes, the ones that I found are the best for both when you're starting out in business, but also when you start growing in business and get more complexity, are either ClickUp or Asana. And the one I prefer is Asana, especially for the fact that you can get away with using the free version for a long, long time. And even the paid versions aren't particularly expensive until you get sort of the big all singing or dancing things. But even we don't have the top level yet, and I don't feel that we need it. We don't advise that our clients actually invest in the paid versions for quite some time until they've really got the handle of the basic functions, and basic functions will take you a long, long way. So that's my recommendation, but you can go use this and apply this to whichever particular task management app you're using. And so again, I've covered this before, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail here, but what we're going to do is just simply set up a task board, and that is just a Kanban style board. So a board with columns on where you can add cards or tasks to those particular columns and move them from one column to the next. Simple as that. And we're going to you can have a section for pending if you want. So you have pending and priorities and in progress, that sort of stuff. We're not going to talk about it today. What I'm going to talk about today is actually all of your recurring work. And this is where the gold is when it comes to freeing your time, because arguably the stuff that you're just basically doing as it sort of gets thrown at you, then once you've got rid of your recurring work and you're not just putting out fires and just overwhelm the time, you can start thinking about, okay, how can I actually get people to help me with that other stuff? But that's a story, and that's a conversation for another day. Today, I want to talk about all the stuff in your business that you're doing day in, day out, week in, week out, etc. And so how do we actually put some organization around that, get visibility about what's being done, how long is it taking, and start actually getting that off to other people's plates? If you've already got a team, how do we know exactly what everyone is doing day in, day out, and you're confident it's actually getting done? And this is how we do it. So we're going to set up a board, as I said, and on this board, we're going to have a column for daily, a column for weekly, a column for monthly, and a column for periodic. Simple as that. And then as you go through your day, you're simply going to think, is this something that I do on a regular basis? Do I do this every day, every week, every month, every year, every 6 months, every quarter, whatever? And you're going to put it into the appropriate column. So you'll end up after about a month or so capturing most of the work in your business. If you continue doing this for a couple of months, you're going to capture the vast majority of the tasks that happen on a monthly basis, and then you just add the extra few in the 6 monthly, quarterly when they come to you, or you do them. And so within, as I say, a month, 2 months maximum, you're going to capture nearly everything that's actually going on in your business in recurring tasks. And now you can actually start thinking about, okay, who else could be doing this stuff for me? There's a great tool you can help to help with this process called Toggl. And there's other apps as well, and they plug directly in or integrate directly with the task management app. So what they do is basically time how long you are spending doing each of the tasks in your board. So this is really useful data with regards to either creating what we call the personal systemization plan. So in what order should I be putting the effort into actually delegating this work out and getting somebody to help me with it, so I free up the most amount of my time as quickly as possible. But also for your staff to be able to see, where are they spending their time? Is there work they should be delegating down, or are they spending far longer than I expected on certain tasks? And do we need to look at those tasks? And I'll come to some of the tips about that in a second. But it's really simple to link these out. So once they're linked, you just click on the task that you're working on. It automatically starts a timer. When you're finished, you click on the next one and it starts the next task. Starts the timer off again. And then it logs all that in the back end, and you can export that in spreadsheets and you can get data from it. So really useful thing to do. And it basically allows you to then use that data for a lot of cool stuff, as I've just described. And so one of the keys to really making the most of this is not just about putting all of your tasks down. You need to actually know who is doing it, who's responsible for it. And when you've got your task boards and everybody in your team is putting their own tasks on, you allocate those tasks to an individual person, and now they're responsible for doing them. You stick a due date on it. They're responsible for doing it by a certain date. And now you, as the manager or the business owner, can at a glance see, is there overdue work on their task board? But therefore, I can see exactly what's not being done and what's being done. And if you're worried about, well, maybe they're just going to tick it off as being done, even though they haven't done it, and that's a fear that I used to have, and a lot of my clients do in the beginning. Well, what we do is simply say, okay, they're going to comment on the task to say, I have done this. This is what I did in really short terms, or take a screenshot of the work they've done and paste it in, which takes 2 seconds to do. And now you've actually got evidence that this task is actually be done every single day. And it helps you sleep at night when you wake up in the middle of the night and think, gosh, has X, Y, or Z been done for the past 6 weeks? I've not been checking it. You can flick open your task management app, have a look at that particular task and say, yep, it's been done every single day or every single week, and go back to sleep and enjoy the rest of your night. And that's the kind of thing that gives you that visibility, that control, that peace of mind. It's simple stuff, but it really, really makes a big impact. One of the things I talked about a minute ago is about commenting and communicating about tasks. And again, similarly to putting comments when the tasks are completed, if there's questions about the tasks, if you have input on the task, if someone needs to collaborate with some of the team members, all of that can happen on the task board in one place. So it's not getting lost in other threads in emails and texts and all the rest of it. It's all in one place, and it allows the team to collaborate and communicate far, far more efficiently. And the key here is, can I repeat this again, is it's not just you this is for, and it's not just your team, it's both of you, because it will identify the stuff that you are doing, which you shouldn't be doing, identify the stuff that your high value teammates or team members are doing, which they shouldn't be doing, and allow you to effortlessly just drag those onto someone else's task board and get them to do it for you. So that's really the basics of how you set this up and how you use it. But I'm going to give you 5 top tips now for actually getting the most out of this. The pro tips that really you may or may not be doing, but I doubt you'll be doing them all. So tip 1 is to keep the comments as a history on each task. Now, if you're familiar with Asana, then you'll know that when you tick a task off as done, even if it's a recurring task, you lose all the comments that have been made on that task. Now, some task board management apps allow you to save the comment history even when you tick off a task, a recurring daily or weekly, monthly task. However, in Asana, you can't do that. So make sure you switch that functionality on if it's not. And if you're using Asana, then we basically don't tick off tasks as being done when they're recurring. We simply move the due date and comment on the task, as I described a second ago, to say this task has been done today. We then can see the whole history of when the task was done, any comments that we made, and we don't lose that each time the task is completed or done. So the second top tip is to link your time tracking software, as I described a minute ago, to allow you to effortlessly and automatically track exactly how long each task is taking on a daily, monthly, or weekly basis, and then add all that together automatically to get your average times for doing the tasks. Now, this is super important because by knowing the average time taken to complete a task, you can then know from a manager point of view what the capacity of your team is. So I can see at a click of a button how long each of my employees is taking or needs allocated, I should say, to be able to do all of their recurring work. They can then work out by taking away the 40 hours they work each week, minusing off their recurring work. That's their capacity for new work. And therefore, I can be really realistic about how long stuff's going to take because I know how many hours they actually got spare in order to be able to actually get stuff done. And we just add a simple custom field. So pro tip 3, add a custom field onto each task, and then get your team to just get the average time taken from their Toggl app or whatever app you're using, put it in there so you can then use that within your task management software to see exactly how long things are taking on average. Pro tip number 4, this is your systemization plan, your personal systemization plan, as we call it. You now know what you're doing each day, and really importantly, you know how long it's taking you. So you can pick the stuff that's taking you a long time and get that off your plate or off your key personnel's plate as soon as possible. And then pro tip number 5 is to give you that 10,000 foot view of everything that's going on in your business. If you've got slightly bigger teams, if you've got one employee or whatever, then you can probably just look at their one task board. But when you start getting like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 staff, and you've got all these task boards with everyone's tasks on there, great. You could go through, one by one by one to be able to have a look at, everything that's everyone's doing. But I just simply add every single recurring task that's on anyone's task board to a separate project. And again, I use Asana for this, but most good business grade apps will allow you to do this. I don't think Trello does. It didn't last time I checked, but ClickUp definitely does, and Asana. And basically to add all the tasks that are on your task board, to actually add them to a second project, not duplicating them, adding them so they're visible from 2 different projects. Again, it's something you can do with certain task management apps. And then I had this second project, which is basically called our yearly planner. And that has every single task, daily, weekly, monthly, on there, on everybody's task board, including my own. So I can see every recurring task that's happened in the business in one view. And then because we've got due dates on there, because we've got the comments, we can see exactly what's not been done, what's overdue, who's meant to be doing it. And that also helps us when someone goes off on holiday or sick leave or whatever, we can actually just get that view of like what task they were actually responsible for and pass them over to somebody else. But just having that view of everything in one place just gives you some better visibility of what's going on, really. Cool. So that's about it. So why, if you do this, like, this is one of those things that when our clients do this, it's, I had one of my elite coaching clients on the call the other day, and this was her, like, every time we go around during our accountability session, I say, what's the biggest like win you had this week? And her win was that her and her manager, she runs a healthcare center in Dublin, and sorry, a boutique spa in Dublin, sorry, not a healthcare center. And she was just saying that just at the moment, they're not done it to the rest of the team, but just her and her manager started doing this. They started putting all the tasks on there and communicating on there. And it's totally transformed the amount of work they're getting done, the clarity about who is doing what, about actually just getting stuff over the line, and rather than just being a big mess and so trying to hold everything in your head or trying to find all the threads in emails and stuff. And it was one of those moments where I just realized that, well, this is the reason I'm recording this podcast, because it is so incredibly valuable when you actually get this right. Then, and it's so easy to do that it's just one of those no-brainer things. So I encourage you to give this a go. And if you need help, this is exactly the sort of stuff we coach our clients on our Stress Resistant Systems Academy. So please do reach out if you want to find out more about that, and we'll happily help you along the way and give you all of our templates and all the rest of it. But what else is good about this? Well, it creates that blueprint for your entire business, as I said. It creates that plan for offloading work, and it just helps you to indicate which tasks in your business, which processes in your business are ripe for streamlining, or we call it sharpening. So we have this phrase called sharpening with ease, and ease is the acronym, and it's about eliminating tasks. The E, it's about automating tasks, it's about streamlining tasks, and it's about empowering your staff to do all those three things. So that's the 4 letters of ease. And by knowing how long stuff's taking and being aware about the capacity of your team, you can then get them to be able to sharpen their tasks for you by empowering them to have the authority to actually go away and think about, and give them the time to actually spend being your internal process optimizers. And all that takes, and all that may sound fancy or whatever, but all that takes is to say to somebody, look, once a month, pick a task that annoys you, that it takes forever to do, and figure out how to do it quicker, and spend a couple of hours on it, and come and tell me what your thoughts and suggestions are, and then let them get on with it. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that episode on basically prioritizing everything you do. So today we've really talked about how you set up a task board for you and your staff, how you put everything, all of your recurring tasks on there, your daily, your weekly, monthly tasks, to track your time and put your average time on there, and then use that data and that information to be able to prioritize what you offload, what you delegate down to elevate up, what it is that you're going to automate in your business, what you're going to sharpen. So you're going to either eliminate, automate, or streamline, and to basically just give you a far better control of everything that's happening in your business, better visibility, better peace of mind, and somewhere, really importantly, for your staff to communicate effectively, and for you to have that peace of mind that things are actually getting done when they're meant to be done by the person who's meant to do them. And that's it. Have a nice day. If you like this episode, as always, please do leave us a review. Give us a rating. 5-star is always nice if you're listening to this on a podcast. If you're listening to this on a podcast or on YouTube, please do subscribe for future episodes, and just hit us up in social media and say hello. And I'd love to get on the chat with you. Cool. Thanks very much indeed.